The unfolding story of the arrest of Louisiana police chiefs and a local businessman in connection with a sprawling visa fraud scheme is a testament to the intricate nature of corruption and its potential to exploit even humanitarian programs. This detailed account delves into every known facet of the alleged operation and the severe legal ramifications facing the accused. The heart of the allegations, exploiting the U-Visa program. The central thrust of the 62-count federal indictment revolves around the non-immigrant status, U-Visa, program. Established in October 2000 under the Victims of Trafficking and Violence Protection Act, the U-Visa is a crucial tool designed to encourage victims of certain crimes to come forward and cooperate with law enforcement. In exchange for their cooperation, these victims and their immediate family members can obtain temporary legal status in the U.S. and a pathway to permanent residency. The alleged scheme cynically twisted this protective measure into a profit-generating enterprise. According to the indictment unsealed by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Louisiana, the defendants allegedly fabricated police reports that falsely identified non-citizens as victims of violent crimes, specifically armed robberies that never occurred. These bogus reports then served as the basis for the non-citizens to apply for U-Visas, thereby defrauding the U.S. immigration system. The alleged conspirators and their roles. The indictment names 5 primary defendants, outlining their alleged roles in the near-decade-long conspiracy, which is believed to have operated from approximately December 26, 2015, until at least July 15, 2025. 1. Chandrakant Lalla Patel, Oakdale, Louisiana, described as the central figure and alleged mastermind of the operation. Patel, who owns 2 stores and operates a Subway sandwich shop in Oakdale, is accused of acting as the intermediary between individuals seeking U-Visas and the corrupt law enforcement officials. The indictment alleges that people seeking U-Visas, referred to as aliens in court documents, would contact Patel, or a facilitator who would then contact Patel, to be named as victims in these fabricated police reports. They would pay Patel thousands of dollars for this service. Patel, in turn, would allegedly pay the law enforcement co-conspirators $5,000 for each name included in a false report. Disturbingly, court papers indicate that Patel himself obtained a U-Visa in 2023 based on his alleged status as a victim of an armed robbery, a potential component of the very scheme he's accused of orchestrating. Federal officials reportedly traced $230,000 and property worth $51,000 connected to Patel in this case, likely representing alleged illicit gains. 2. Chad Doyle, Chief of Police for the City of Oakdale, Louisiana, one of 2 currently serving police chiefs charged. Doyle, along with the other law enforcement defendants, is accused of knowingly producing and authenticating false police reports of purported armed robberies in central Louisiana parishes. They would also provide the necessary U-Visa certification and attestation documents, Form I-918B, to support the fraudulent applications, falsely affirming the individual's cooperation in non-existent crimes. 3. Glenn Dixon, Chief of Police for the City of Forest Hill, Louisiana, also currently serving police chief, indicted in the scheme, with alleged actions mirroring those of Chad Doyle in fabricating reports and providing false certifications. 4. Thibaut Onache, former Chief of Police for the City of Glenmora, Louisiana, served as a police chief during part of the alleged conspiracy and is accused of similar involvement in generating false reports and certifications. 5. Michael Freck Slaney, Marshal of the Ward 5 Marshal's Office in Oakdale, Louisiana, a marshal who, like the police chiefs, is accused of participating in the production of fraudulent police reports and U-Visa certifications. The modus operandi, a web of deceit. The alleged scheme's mechanics involved several layers of deception. Recruitment of victims, individuals, often non-Louisiana residents, who desired UVisas would reportedly pay Patel substantial sums of money, thousands of dollars. Fabrication of crime reports. Patel would then leverage his connections with the indicted law enforcement officers. These officers would author and sign official police reports detailing armed robberies that never actually occurred. The victims in these reports were the individuals who paid Patel. False certifications. Crucially, the law enforcement officials would also sign and provide the Form I-918B, the UVisa law enforcement certification, falsely stating that the individuals were victims of qualifying criminal activity and had been helpful in the investigation. Submission to USCIS. These fabricated documents, including the police reports and certifications, would then be submitted to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, as part of the UVisa application process. Financial transactions. The money paid by the UVisa applicants to Patel would then allegedly be distributed, with $5,000 going to the complicit law enforcement officials for each victim they listed in a fraudulent report. The breadth of the alleged fraud is substantial, with the U.S. Attorney's Office stating that hundreds of names were involved in these false applications, specifically for visas that were ultimately approved. The arrests and related investigations. The arrests were carried out on Wednesday, July 16, 2025, following a sweeping federal investigation known as Operation Take Back America. This initiative, spearheaded by the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security, targets fraud within immigration systems. A notable detail is that Chad Doyle and Glynn Dixon were apprehended at a hotel in Baton Rouge where the annual Louisiana Association of Chiefs of Police Conference was being held. This timing highlights the audacious nature of the alleged criminal activities. Federal authorities executed search warrants at the police departments involved and at Patel's subway business, seizing evidence pertinent to the investigation. In a seemingly separate but related development, Allison Doyle, the wife of Oakdale Police Chief Chad Doyle and a former Oakdale City employee, was also arrested. She faces state-level charges of 2 counts of malfeasance in office. Louisiana State Police allege that Allison Doyle conspired with Chandrakant Lala Patel to manipulate the bidding process for 2 city-owned properties. While her alleged crime isn't directly tied to the UVisa fraud, the information that led to her arrest was reportedly uncovered by federal investigators during their probe into Patel's activities. This suggests a broader pattern of alleged corruption involving the central businessman. The likely legal consequences if found guilty. The defendants face a daunting array of federal charges, and if convicted, the legal consequences would be severe, potentially leading to decades in prison and substantial financial penalties. Here's a breakdown of the maximum penalties for each charge. Conspiracy to commit visa fraud, 1 count for each defendant. Maximum sentence, up to 5 years in federal prison. Additionally, significant fines of up to $250,000 per count can be imposed. Visa fraud, 6 counts for Chad Doyle, Glynn Dixon, Thibault Onashe, and Michael Slaney. Unspecified counts for Patel. Maximum sentence, up to 10 years in federal prison per count. Fines of up to $250,000 per count. Bribery, 1 count for Chandrakant Patel. Maximum sentence, up to 10 years in federal prison. Fines can be substantial. Mail fraud, 24 counts for Chandrakant Patel, 6 counts for Chad Doyle, Glynn Dixon, and Michael Slaney, 6 counts for Thibault Onashe. Maximum sentence, up to 20 years in federal prison per count. Fines of up to $250,000 per count. This charge is particularly potent due to the number of counts and its high maximum sentence, reflecting the alleged use of the U.S. mail system to facilitate the fraud. Money laundering, 8 counts for Chandrakant Patel, 1 count for Chad Doyle and Glynn Dixon, 2 counts for Michael Slaney. Carries significant penalties, often involving lengthy prison sentences, potentially up to 20 years per count in some cases, and substantial fines, often twice the amount of the laundered funds. Crucially, money laundering charges also call for the forfeiture of assets, including bank accounts, real estate, and vehicles that are determined to be proceeds of the criminal activity. This means the government can seize properties and funds believed to be derived from the scheme. For Alison Doyle, the state charges of malfeasance in office typically carry penalties that can include imprisonment, fines, and disbarment from holding public office in the future. The specific sentence would depend on Louisiana state law and the details of the conviction. Overall impact. If convicted on multiple counts, the defendants could face cumulative sentences that amount to many decades in prison. The financial penalties could be crippling, with fines potentially reaching into the millions of dollars. Beyond the direct legal consequences, a conviction would lead to the loss of their positions, damage to their reputations, and a profound breach of public trust, particularly for those who held law enforcement roles. The U.S. Attorney's Office has stated that the investigation is ongoing, suggesting that more charges or individuals could be implicated as authorities continue to piece together the full scope of this alleged criminal enterprise. The fate of the non-citizens who obtained U visas through this alleged fraudulent scheme also remains unclear, but they could face revocation of their visa status and potential deportation.